All right, welcome back to the Vendetta Sports Fantasy Show. Today is Wednesday, July 8th. We're recording this at night. We have Alex Chick, Scott Logush in the house, the three normal guys. What's going on today?
It's hot. It's hot. Oh, my God. It's like 105, 110 this week. Jesus, I am sick of the summer. I hate the summer.
Somebody's got the guns out, though.
Sun's out, guns out.
Scott, what's up?
It's fucking like mid-30s all week, and I know you guys don't know Celsius, but anyone who does, you know how fucking hot that is.
Oh, now I'm curious. I'm gonna look it up. I'm curious. Yeah, man. No, it's fucking hot. I'm getting tired of this shit.
So we have a good show for you guys today. We are going to finish up the Don't Eat the Cheese series and get into some news and a little bit of a ESPN topic here. So have a bunch of news actually to talk about. It is the off season, but a lot of things are going on. This one just dropped like an hour or so before we started recording here. Raheem Mostert has requested a trade. If 2020 wasn't weird enough, if you had your bingo cards out for 2020, if you had Raheem Mostert requesting a trade, you got bingo there. Don't think I saw that one coming before this past year. So, Alex, what is your takeaway here for Mostert requesting a trade?
Well, it's surprising, but it's a little bit understandable on his part. I mean, he knows, like, he's gonna be the go-to guy, at least for the 49ers this year. And if he feels like he's underpaid, then, I mean, I guess I just don't know what the original negotiations were and how much he was being offered. So I can't really say he was being underpaid or not, but if he feels like he's being underpaid as a go-to guy for a team that lost in the Super Bowl, I can't necessarily blame him. As far as his fantasy value, it really just depends if he gets traded and where he gets traded to.
Scott?
We don't really know. They haven't said what they were offering him in contract negotiations, so it's hard to say if he's been underpaid and if he has a right to be pissed off for being underpaid. My one thing is he was nothing before Kyle Shanahan. Like, Kyle Shanahan made him last year, and that's just how all running backs perform in his system. So I feel the 49ers can trade him and not miss a beat.
Yeah, this one is, like, to me, you're playing with fire here, bud. Like,
yeah,
you better be real careful. We exposed that bum Devontae Freeman. Go ask Devontae Freeman what it's like to play without Kyle Shanahan. It's not very fun. And for like 9 years of your career, you were a nobody. So I know you want to get a little bit more money, and I know you probably should get a little bit more money, but it's your fault for signing that contract. You're under contract for 2 more years. I don't know why you're bitching. And if you want more money and you plan to stink, that's fine. If that's the route you want to go. But if you actually want to have a good future, you may want to, just be quiet a little bit. Chill out a little bit here.
Don't pull a Le'Veon Bell, all right?
Oof, that's a sore spot.
Let's say that what were to happen if Mostert were to be traded? Do we have any takeaways there?
Team would want him.
I don't know.
Like, is there even a trade market for him?
I don't know.
That's a good question because, I mean, and it's kind of funny because running backs, you can, like, with good coaching like Kyle Shanahan has, you can make a good running back anywhere as long as you have a good coach. It's just I don't know if he's good or not. Product of Kyle Shanahan, like y'all said, it's just it's interesting. So I really don't know what's his worth, where even he can go to, but it's interesting for sure.
My guess would be a trade doesn't happen, but if one were to happen, I would want every piece of Tevin Coleman that I could possibly have.
Yes. For the 49ers, it's looking real good for Tevin Coleman if that happens. Everyone that has in Dynasty Leagues, anyone that has Tevin Coleman's like, yes, trade him, please. Because that's just more production for him.
All right, second piece of news here. Another player has requested a trade. This one came a little bit earlier in the week. David Njoku wants out. And I just wrote a post on this one just so that I would have the link for the video when it comes out, but to me, I don't blame him. And you know, the Austin Hooper thing to me didn't make any sense. I don't know why you're making him the highest paid tight end in the league. And you're drafting Harrison Bryant in the draft. I have no problem with Njoku wanting out. And I think if he were to opt out or if he were to be traded, this is somebody that would have some value in fantasy. Scott, what do you think?
He would definitely have some value in fantasy if he goes to the right team. And I also don't blame him for wanting to be traded because it seems like Cleveland is getting ready to replace him. And who the hell wants to be in Cleveland anyway? Like I think most players just want to get out of that tire fire and get to an organization that will know how to utilize them and know how to not find a way to screw up in every way possible.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? He's 100% correct to ask for a trade. I mean, if you're not getting touches, and you know what, you think you're at least a little bit better than some of the other starting tight ends in the league, why not? I mean, so you know he's going to get more playing time somewhere else. It's better for him. It's probably better for the Browns. So.
Yeah, I thought about it like this. Let's say Njoku were to be traded to a team like, say, the Green Bay Packers. How would you value Njoku in fantasy? Would he be a top 5, top 10, top 15 kind of guy? Where would you slot him in if, say, the Packers land him? And I don't know. I'm just making something up. But a team that really doesn't have a tight end, but somebody that, you know, Aaron Rodgers could make something out of this.
Well, that depends on if Aaron Rodgers likes him. If he likes him, I like him as a top 10. If not, I'm not really sure. I would say he wouldn't be the worst decision you could make at tight end, but it really just depends if Aaron Rodgers likes him.
What is happening there?
Someone's got a squeaker toy back there, or it's outside the door, so I guess they're waiting for me to come out. But yeah, they have a squeaker toy. One of my dogs. I don't know. I know which one it is too, but
okay. Scott, what do you have?
If he goes to Green Bay, he is the undisputed number 1 tight end. But it ultimately comes down to if Aaron Rodgers can trust him and if he likes him. Because, like we said before in other shows, Aaron Rodgers is the type of guy to say, "Fuck you, I'm not throwing to you." If he doesn't like you, he will do that. And he does not care about it one bit. So it all depends on that morale and chemistry between the two. However, I feel there's a good chance they will get along well simply because Aaron Rodgers will finally have someone outside of Devontae Adams.
Number 1? You put him at number 1?
No, like the undisputed number 1 tight end in Green Bay.
Okay. Okay. I must have misheard you because I was like, wow, number 1. I was like, I mean, he might be good, but damn, like.
No. The undisputed number 1 tight end in Green Bay.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I guess it depends on the landing spot, but I think he's a good talent. So,
yeah.
All right. Last piece of news here, and this one is bigger than maybe we think, but we didn't really know what the plan was for the Buffalo Bills backfield. I know you guys hate committees, but we feel a little bit better about committees when we know what we're getting into. It seems like the Bills have shown their cards here. Zach Moss will get the Frank Gore role, which means Devin Singletary is not getting any touchdowns. Last year, Singletary had a total of 3 carries inside the 10-yard line. Frank Gore got all of them. If Brandon Beane is saying that Zach Moss is going to be Frank Gore, no touchdowns for you, sir, for Devin Singletary. So, Alex, how does this change your opinion on maybe Zach Moss, Devin Singletary? Does it not change your opinion? What is your thoughts on the Bills' backfield?
I really liked Devin Singletary coming into the year because I wasn't sure what they were going to do with Zach Moss yet. I thought, Devin Singletary is going to be the number 1 guy going to the Buffalo Bills, and he might just be that. But now that they're throwing Zach Moss in, especially for something as crucial as touchdowns, I got to say I'm out on Devin Singletary. I might even think Zach Moss is, more attractive because you know what? You can get 2 touchdowns a game. That's 12 points. And to match that, you would have to get like 120 yards as a running back. So, I mean, if he has like 5 yards but 2 touchdowns out of it, then he's already getting more points. And you know what? Touchdowns win championships in fantasy leagues. So Zach Moss is a little bit more appealing to me, but I'm a little sketchy about the whole situation.
Scott?
Similarly to Alex, I'm not a big fan of the whole situation, but Zach Moss has like a Jerome Bettis stat line of like 5 carries, 2 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's going to be great for you in terms of fantasy just because touchdowns are so valuable. So we know that he's going to be the between the tackles goal line guy. That adds a lot of value because we know he's just going to be like, line him up, take it, just plow through the pile, get to the end zone. And when he gets to the end zone, that's 6 points for the Bills. That's 6 points for you. You'll be happy if you get Zach Moss, but he's not a high pick by any means. I'm not entirely sure if I draft him. It depends how the board would fall. But he's definitely has more value now.
I don't know why, but to me, this was more jarring because I felt like it was going to be like an 80% Devin Singletary. But now I almost feel like they're maybe on a similar tier. And I think there's even a chance that maybe Zach Moss, is the number 1 back there somehow. What if he's really good and gets the touchdowns? So This one would really hurt my opinion on Singletary for sure.
Yeah, no. Man, and you got to think, why do they draft Zach Moss in the first place? You got to think teams draft people for a reason. And so I'm still trying to figure out. But, I mean, if what you're saying is true, Zach Moss goes and beats the number 1 guy in Buffalo, then, I mean, Devin Singletary, he's looking for a new job somewhere else.
Also, don't forget Josh Allen had 7 rushing touchdowns too. So we could also be overthinking this and maybe Singletary is the best guy anyway.
Yeah.
But that's fantasy football for you.
Man, you could try to put it up as much as you like. It's always going to be unpredictable.
All right, let's dive into Scott's post. But before we do that, make sure to check out the website, vendettasportsmedia.com. Chicks Tape Pod, Scott or S Logush 52, myself, Trey Daubert, media_vendetta on Twitter, and hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Let's keep working our way towards 100 here. Second topic on the day, we're going to talk about Scott's post, and he can lead the way on this since he wrote about him. ESPN Radio making a ton of changes, most notably Golic and Wingo is finally out. Scott, what are your takeaways here?
So I've never been a fan of that show in any way. I've just never been able to sit myself down and listen to it. And I honestly don't think that show is going to be missed much at all. I mean, they're just making so many changes there, and quite frankly, I can't blame them because ESPN Radio has never really been one of my favorites to listen to. I'd much rather just listen to music. So I don't blame him for making changes, and I can kind of agree with the changes. Like moving Max Kellerman in, while you can have your own opinion about him, but he can make some segments entertaining just because of some of the stuff he'll say, just off the hook. And if you want successful radio, sometimes you need that. You need someone who's just going to spew whatever he wants to say, and if it works, it works.
Yeah, for those watching, yes, this has nothing to do about fantasy, but I thought it was a relevant topic because this is the number 2 and number 3 viewed posts on the site right now. Scott, I'm sure you didn't know that, but
I did not know that.
I'll
dive. Scott. I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
let's go.
I don't know why people don't listen to me, but when I say something will get views, it normally does.
You said it in the group chat. You're just like, if anyone wants views, here you go.
Well, to be fair, Scott, it came like 3 minutes, and Scott was like, I got it. I got it.
My thoughts on it, I guess Alex has 0 thoughts on it. It sounds
well,
like.
all I was going to say is, you know what, as much as people don't like Max Kellerman, he's funny as hell. Like, sometimes remember when he, like, roasted Ryan Hollins at one time? So, I mean, he's funny. I don't listen to, ESPN radio or anything like that, but I do know Max Kellerman. I know he's kind of funny, so. But go ahead, Trey. That's all I had to say. I don't know anything else.
There is a reason why ESPN continues to change their programming what seems like every other week. We've Get Up has constant changes, and Golic Wingo comes, and then it goes, and High Noon comes, and it goes. ESPN keeps making changes because their programming sucks. So until they hire competent people, this will not change. I can't believe they let Dominique Foxworth on TV. Like, I don't understand how you listen to that guy's voice. It sounds like he's squeaking the entire time. And he said something on Kaepernick like a week ago. He's like, He should not accept jobs. It's like, huh? That's ESPN for you. Their programming is dog shit. Golic and Wingo. Golic, it sounds like whether it's senior or junior, every time they talk, it sounds like they're chewing a sandwich at the same time. I don't know how you listen to that. I'm not even trying to be mean. They sound like bums, though. I don't know how you listen to it. And Wingo, I mean, the guy either doesn't care, and I know he got his job because daddy was working there or whatever, but he couldn't pronounce any of the names on draft night. Like, none.
I have that problem. I can't pronounce names for shit.
Okay, so, yeah, but it's his job to get it right.
His job is to get it right, and you have at ESPN you have a team of 50 people working behind the scenes, creating clips and helping you with those things, and you're still getting them wrong.
Oof, that's a big oof.
So, I mean, to me, until ESPN hires competent people, and right now there's about maybe 2 that work there. I like Louis Riddick and I like Dan Orlovsky. Do you guys like anybody else at ESPN? I don't. Scott Van Pelt's decent at the Sports Center or Nightlife or whatever.
I do like SVP. I like Louis Riddick because last year he said the Raiders had a chance to go to the playoffs before the season. So I was like, you know what? This guy, I like him.
Who else is good at ESPN? Nobody.
Stephen A?
No, absolutely
No,
not.
he brings ratings. That's
funny. What I mean. He's just funny and he's just loud.
Yeah. It makes me laugh. But yeah, that's pretty much pretty much it.
It's nonsense.
It's just for the memes.
It's for the memes. I love the fucking Stephen A. Burner account. Whoever made that shit.
I hate that guy.
No, that shit makes me laugh so hard because he'd be under every post with some funny ass meme. I love it. It's funny.
I hate that guy. I had to mute him. All right, let's get back to fantasy. It's okay to mix in other things.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to focus on Don't Eat the Cheese tight ends, 3 per person. Let's go to Alex here. Who is your Don't Eat the Cheese tight end number 1 here?
Ooh, I got a surprise here for y'all. I wrote about it a little bit earlier. But my first one, and this is going to come surprising, is Darren Waller, okay? I love Darren Waller. I love what he came out. I mean, he broke out this year. I loved it. I think it's done. I don't think he's going to be nearly as good this year. One of the main things is we talked about earlier, touchdowns win championships. He only had 3 last year, okay? And that was him being one of the main options. Other than Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, and maybe Hunter Renfrow, that's it. But now you have, a healthy Tyrell Williams, Hunter Renfrow still there, Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller. They just drafted 2 more wide receivers. They got a couple more wide receivers coming in. I mean, so it's a lot of mouths to feed in Oakland or Las Vegas now. There's a lot of mouths in Las Vegas. Darren Waller's production, even though he was top 5 this year, this year he's not going to be nowhere near that for me.
I don't hate your point. While I love the talent, you're basically saying that he's not going to get 117 targets again. That's basically your argument.
Yeah. It's nowhere near that, I don't think. I think he's going to be really good to separate or spread out the defense, make it more open for the other guys, but I don't think he's going to do nearly as well.
Now, I do have a counter before we go to Scott because this is a guy that had over 1,100 yards and had 3 touchdowns. What are the chances that even if he has 80 receptions instead of 90, he has 6 touchdowns? I don't think that's impossible.
It's true, but the Raiders weren't really passing for touchdowns. They were trying to get rushing touchdowns, and that's more along the lines of John Gruden, I believe. I mean, even though John Gruden loves his tight ends, I can't see a duplicate year where Darren Waller gets near the amount of points he gets like he did last year. So,
Scott, is your argument that Jason Witten's the number 1 tight end?
Oh, that wasn't. Whoa! Let's not put words in my mouth here, okay? I love Darren Waller. I just don't think it'll be a good fantasy tight end.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Darren Waller was my first pick as well.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah. So originally I thought I was going to have to be like, look, I'm sorry, Alex, but it's just not going to happen. No, he agrees with me, so this is great. Same point. He's just not going to get that many targets because I feel the main reason he got so many targets was because they lost AB so soon, and they're like, oh, shit, what do we do? Who takes those targets? Darren Waller was already there, so he took a large majority of those targets. And like we said before, touchdowns win fantasy leagues. He didn't score many touchdowns. He scored 3 touchdowns last year. And so to bring up your point again, it's not impossible that he has 6 touchdowns, but it's also not very likely either. Like, just saying something isn't impossible doesn't mean it's going to happen or that has a good chance to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
So, like,
Yeah.
when we're talking don't eat the cheese, he's, like, outside your top 10? Because that's not the case for me.
He's
Let me-
listed
hold
as a
on.
top 5 right now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's not going to be top 5. I don't think he's going to crack top 10. He might float around 11, 12, but I just don't know if he'll be able to crack top 10.
I agree here because I think he'll be just outside top 10. I mean, if what we're saying is Mike Gesicki's going to do good, Dallas Goedert's probably going to do good again, Hunter Henry. I mean, I think he'll be outside the top 10. I do.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I hope
then.
you're right, Trey. I hope you're right because I love Darren Waller, but I just don't see it.
But you're not going to draft him.
No,
Well-
I probably won't.
I mean, I'll be on your side when Mariota takes over.
Oh my God! Here we go. Every week with this guy.
All right, my first pick, since you guys have Darren Waller, I'm going to go Tyler Higbee.
I knew you were gonna go with that. That's why I didn't pick him.
The reason why I'm taking Tyler Higbee is because the guy's not that good. And last year he had like a 4-game stretch where he had a couple touchdowns, he had some yardage, but the people that actually paid attention know that 4-game stretch was when Gerald Everett was not playing. This is a full committee at the tight end position, and I'm not even sure Higbee's the number one guy there. They drafted Everett earlier this offseason. Sean McVay said they want to get Gerald Everett involved more in the offense. When you have a situation where we don't know if Tyler Higbee's the number one tight end on his home team, how is he going to be a top 5, top 10 tight end in fantasy? This isn't Zach Ertz, who's really, really, really good. I'm talking about Tyler Higbee. He's sharing time. The guy's not that good. He's overpaid. You're already talking about an offense where it's Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, and I kind of like Josh Reynolds, and they draft this is an offense that has used 3 wide receivers forever. You're talking about splitting time at tight end. Get me the hell out of this. I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I don't see the Tyler Higbee hype either. It's like kind of like DJ Moore. Everyone just started gobbling his nuts for no reason, and I was like, what the hell? I was like, dude, it's Tyler Higbee. His last name's Higbee for crying out loud.
I don't think that has anything to do with it. But
I think it does.
It might be.
Because last name Higbee. You're telling me someone's gonna be good with the last name Higbee? I don't see it. But Trey kind of alluded to it earlier. They had 600, or Jared Goff threw for like 600 times, and all of them really went to the wide receivers. So I mean, for me, I don't like it. I don't like Tyler Higbee at all. Don't draft him.
Scott, you have anything here?
no, it's just I agree. If you're going to be a top 5 tight end, you have to be the best tight end on your team, and Higbee isn't that.
I don't even think he'll be top 10. I don't
Me
think there's
neither.
a chance in hell. Yeah, I really don't. I think he's garbage, but I don't know anything.
Scott, who's your second pick here?
Evan Ingram,
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
because Fantasy Pros have him listed at tight end 7, but he's never played a full season in his career. Last year, he played in 8 games. And first off, I want people who are going to play. If you're going to miss a ton of time, I want nothing to do with you simply because you do jack shit for me if you're injured. And if you're missing half the season, or if you're missing even 4 games, unless your name is Patrick Mahomes, you're not going to be a top 10 player at your position in terms of production.
Alex, what do you have?
I don't know. I can't. I hate injuries, but I do like the talent in Evan Ingram. It's like, I'm not saying he's too hard to pass up, but man, I'm thinking about it because I do like Evan Ingram, but Scott has a solid point. If he can't stay healthy, can't stay on the field, what good is he to you? So, I mean, it's really, do you want to take that shot? Are you desperate enough? Hell, if you're desperate enough, it might pay off. Instead of, playing the first 8 weeks, he might play the last 8 weeks and just, do some good in the fantasy playoffs for you. So, I don't know.
He'll miss the entire fantasy playoffs for you.
Well, if he misses the first 8 weeks and plays the last 8 weeks, I meant. Sorry.
I know that he struggled with injuries, but this is a guy I would actually want. And the reason why is because when he's on the field, he's really, really good. He's got 12 touchdowns and 25 starts. If I can find a tight end that's scoring a touchdown every other game for me, I feel like that's pretty good. So while tight end 7 doesn't seem like a price where I have to overpay for him, it feels like to me if I'm missing out on a top 5 guy, I'm taking dart throws at that point anyway. So I'd rather take a shot that Ingram's really good.
That's fair.
He can be really good. It's just when he misses time because he's never played a full season in his career.
It's just so hard. It's so hard to predict injuries, and I hate that. I really.
So you're saying he's Jordan Reed?
Yes. Simply just because health. I don't trust his health. And look, I never want to down a guy simply because he's injury prone, but in fantasy football, you need players that are actually going to play.
Okay.
All right.
Alex, you have a second pick here?
Yeah. TJ Hawkinson. I don't know. This is it's not on the level of Higbee, but some people are really excited about TJ Hawkinson. I don't see why. Yes, he has had really one good game, and everyone was like, okay, this is my guy. This is it right here. He had in his first game. It was his first game. He had 6 receptions, 131 yards, and 1 touchdown, and people are hanging on to that for dear life. And I don't see why. He's not that good. Plus, I don't like his situation in Detroit. Marvin Jones is going to play a full year. Well, I'm hoping so. They're coming all back. So it's Marvin Jones, Golden Tate, Danny Amendola is still there. So I like them 3 all over TJ Hawkinson. I don't like TJ Hawkinson at all.
I'm with you. I had Hawkinson as a guaranteed bust coming into the draft that year. He had one really good game. He was asked the whole rest of the year. Maybe he turns it around, but to me, this is a guy that did not deserve to be the 8th pick in the NFL draft. I didn't get it at all.
Oh, no.
Scott, you agree or disagree?
I agree completely.
Okay, fair enough.
Nothing else needs to be said.
My second pick is Austin Hooper.
Ooh,
and the reason why I have Austin Hooper is he became the highest paid tight end in the NFL, and that's not the reason. The reason is, we talked a little bit about this, they already have David Njoku. They hire Kevin Stefanski from Minnesota. Last year, Kevin Stefanski kind of split time with Kyle Rudolph and Irv Smith. Both of them were in the 40-ish target range. Austin Hooper had a shit ton of receptions as the only guy in Atlanta. I don't see how if they trade Njoku, I think they'll use Harrison Bryant because I think there's a reason why they drafted him. Kevin Stefanski obviously likes these 2 tight end sets, or they wouldn't have signed Hooper in the first place. I think his targets come way down, and in Cleveland, outside of the tight ends, there are too many mouths to feed here. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, it's going to be a run-first offense. Now we're talking about Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry. Where are the targets coming from with Austin Hooper? So I don't get this one at all. I don't see how he's a top 10 tight end. I would not draft this guy. I wouldn't even think about drafting this guy. Any thoughts there?
Scott, you want to go?
Sure. I just agree. There are just too many mouths to feed on that Cleveland offense. And also, we don't even know how many attempts Baker Mayfield's going to have because of Kevin Stefanski. He likes to run some more. And you have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the backfield. That doesn't make it sound good to anyone. That doesn't make good odds for Baker Mayfield to be throwing all over the yard.
Yeah. And you got to think, you kind of allude to it, but Austin Hooper came from Atlanta. Atlanta was horrendous last year. So, I mean, they were throwing the ball a lot to keep up in games. And you know what? If Cleveland just rides on Nick Chubb, they can't be as bad as they were last year. I think they'll be a little bit better this year. They're not going to be throwing the ball as much. And as Hooper being, at least the 3rd or 4th guy to go to in that offense, he's going to be nowhere near the same amount of production.
All right, so I think everyone did their second pick here.
That was the second one.
Yes.
Scott, you have a third pick?
Yep. Hayden Hurst.
Okay, that's my pick as well, so go ahead.
Oh, great. Great. So they have him, Fantasy Pros have him as tight end 10. I do not see it. I do not see him being a top 15. I don't see him being a top 20 tight end. Top 25 would be iffy with me with Hayden Hurst.
Oof, man. Yikes, go for that man's life. Okay.
Simply because he's not a good tight end. We alluded to this in previous shows, in the show where we brought up how Matt Ryan said Hayden Hurst is one of the best tight ends he's ever played with. Hayden Hurst isn't that. He lost his job to Mark Andrews and Nick Boyle, someone who has had 0 touchdowns. He lost his job to that guy, just to quote Trey, exactly. He lost his job to that guy. And so I brought it up with one of our Who the Fuck Is That Guy segments, a third-string tight end on Atlanta's roster, simply because they're going to realize Hayden Hurst can't play. They're going to realize, oh, shit, we just wasted a second-round pick on this guy. He's going to get benched, and he's just going to stink. He's not going to produce for you fantasy-wise. He's going to be terrible for the Falcons. How the hell is he ranked as the 10th tight end?
Scott pretty much quoted me, so I guess there's no reason for me to explain my reasoning. I can't believe Baltimore got J.K. Dobbins for him, but I guess that's another story for a different day. Alex, do you agree here? I'm guessing from my previous episodes.
I agree with Scott. I wouldn't say he'd be like top 25 is iffy. I would say he'd be okay. I think he'll do better. But I mean, the fact is, Atlanta still has Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, and then whoever else they got there. I trust them over Hurst. So I mean, the fact that Hurst is in a better situation doesn't really. It's not enough for me to draft Hayden Hurst and think he'll actually be good this year.
All right, Alex, give your last pick.
My last one is Greg Olsen for Seattle now. Since he signed in Seattle, no?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, he signed in Seattle. We kind of touched on it in earlier episodes, but Seattle's going to be a run-first offense. They've always have been, even with Russell Wilson there. They've always ran the ball first. Now they have a running back committee. And I just don't think that he's going to get nearly amount the targets as he's supposed to get. I mean, you still have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, both of those who I would throw the ball over Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen's getting old. That's kind of why, the Panthers are kind of like, okay, you can go because we really don't need you anymore. He's old. DK Metcalf is going to be the number 1 receiver there, and I'm going to stick to that. And even before that, then Seattle's going to run the ball most of the time.
See, this one to me would be Scott's like, I don't trust this guy because he's hurt. Because Olsen's a guy who legitimately has not been on the field. He's had serious foot problems, so much so that they're basically like, okay, I'm going to get into broadcasting. Not sure I trust that guy. Yeah. Scott, you have anything on Olsen?
Just, again, with my point, I don't trust him because he's hurt. I don't trust him because he's not on the field. And if someone's not going to be on the field, guess what? He does fuck all for you in fantasy.
Okay. So, are we ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Who the fuck is that guy? Guy you never heard of. Guy you never draft. Somehow, some way, he will win you your fantasy league. And before we begin, make sure to go on vendettasportsmedia.com. Scott has been tracking some of our picks here, more detailed look. So if you want to read about some of these players that maybe to keep an eye on, Scott has been doing a good job. So make sure to read those. Alex, what do you have here?
Well, we talked about it a little bit, or we didn't really talk about it, but if Mostert gets traded, okay, Tevin Coleman, yes, he's had some injuries in the past. He's not – I wouldn't say he's injury prone in the slightest, but he's had injuries in the past. Jerick McKinnon, the guy after him, has had injuries year after year after year. So I'm already putting my odds on that Jerick McKinnon's going to be injured. Let's say Tevin Coleman misses a couple games. I like Jeff Wilson Jr.
Fuck you.
Was that yours?
Yep.
Oh, dude! Yeah! What? Yeah, but I really like him undrafted out of University of Northern Texas. I mean, you know what? If Kyle Shanahan can just pick someone off the street and make him work in his offense, Jeff Wilson's a good guy for me. I mean, imagine if Tevin Coleman's out on one of your one of your fantasy weeks, Jeff Wilson's right there. I'd pick him up in a heartbeat.
All right, Scott. Explain your pick as well here.
Yeah. All right. Shit. So, same reason. If frickin' Raheem Mostert gets traded, Kyle Shanahan, he can make any running back work in his offense. And also, Jeff Wilson has been fairly productive with his touches. Last year, he had 27 carries for 105 yards and 4 touchdowns. And he had 3 catches for 34 yards and 1 touchdown. So, in 30 touches, he has 4 touchdowns. If I can reasonably see that if his volume of touches increases, he will be scoring more touchdowns and will be getting you more yards.
Okay. I went with a tight end here because we did tight ends. This guy is technically a starter, but I almost feel like you guys don't know who he is, even though he starts. Scott may know. We'll see. What team does he play for? CJ Uzama.
Bengals.
Jags. No,
Alex.
Bengals.
There you go.
Bengals, yeah.
Okay.
Tyler Effort went
Thinking
to the
of
Jags.
fucking the Bengals tight end that went to the Jags.
Yeah.
See, Eifert's no longer there. We don't have to worry about that. And this guy is actually a starter. 2 years ago, he had over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. Last year, over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. This is a player that was really raw at Auburn, needed a lot of time to develop. One of those developmental tight ends. I think he's got some talent. He can move a little bit. Cincinnati finally has a at least more stable quarterback situation. You had Ryan Finley out there and a bunch of dog shit the whole year throwing the ball. So even if Burrow's like below average, this is a guy that, you know, maybe can be something at the tight end position.
I like it. Yeah. I mean, you don't know how the Bengals might use their tight ends. He might just be one of their better players.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode. We have any closing thoughts here?
Nope.
All right. That's going to do it for this week. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and we'll see you next time.